Hi, good morning and Assalamu alaikum to all BAA 2021 participants. I'm Shahnorbanun Sahran from Center for Artificial Intelligence Technology, also known as SKY, Faculty of Information Science and Technology, University Kebangsaan Malaysia. I'm presenting this conference paper for my friends Nahla, Muhammad Shatnawi from Yamuk University Jordan, and also Mohammad Faidzul from University Kebangsaan Malaysia. I'm going to present a paper titled Levy Memory-Based This Algorithm for Multi-Level Image Thresholding. So this is the introduction to BAA. Okay, figure 1 is the main classes of this B-swarm intelligence algorithm with some examples of each class. Looking at this figure, B-swarm-based algorithms consist of three groups. Okay, foraging-based algorithms, mating-based algorithm, and nest site selection-based algorithm. So our focus of this presentation will be on this algorithm, the one that I put red star here. So B algorithm is one of this algorithm, which is a new population-based algorithm mimics foraging behavior of honeybees. So many enhancements have been done on BA algorithm. Although these enhancements are logical, they are not necessarily what happened in nature or mimicking the nature. Some of natural components not included in this base algorithm, okay, are one is using private and social information to find the best patch with plentiful amounts of nectar or patches need less effort to collect nectar. Second, Levy flight distribution that have been observed among foraging patterns of albatrosses, bacteria, bumbles, and honeybees. One of the algorithm application is image segmentation, includes multi-level image thresholding, and also not forgotten engineering problem. Okay, figure two shows you the Levy flights of 50 consecutive steps. This is the start point, and this I'm taking this from Young 2010. So what is Levy flight algorithm? So it is a random walk, random process. It consists of taking a series of consecutive random steps. We can categorize it into two categories. One is freely roaming Levy flights, and second is Levy looping flights. So the one that I put star here is showing that this paper is going to concentrate on freely roaming Levy flights. So Levy flights were first proposed as models of random walks in optimization algorithms by Gutowski in 2001. He advocates the use of Levy distributions instead of uniform and Gaussian distributions as mechanism to generate the size of steps. The justification for this was that the frequent short steps generated by Levy distributions enable the optimization algorithm to intensify the search in regions around the current promising points. In addition, the occasional long jumps produced by Levy distributions help the optimization algorithm to escape from local optima. Now we are going to discuss about image thresholdings. So figure 3A is a bi-level image thresholdings, and figure 3B is a multi-level image thresholding. So we can see that here for bi-level, there are only two classes here, but for multi-level, it consists of more than two classes. The thresholding is a method for region-based image segmentation, which does image segmentation in an efficient way. So the idea of thresholding is based on the assumption that in many applications of image processing, the intensity values of pixels belonging to the object are substantially different from those in its background, such that the object and background can be separated by selecting an appropriate threshold. Multi-level threshold finds multiple thresholds used for complex images that consist of more than two classes, as shown in figure 3b. So the problem statement in this paper, the main focus is actually on some limitation of current BA. So we discovered that current BA has two limitations, which are not fully imitate all physical and social aspects of this nature. And second, it requires quite a large number of tunable parameters. So this paper, we are going to focus on two objectives. One is to propose a new initialization and way of movements based on Levy flight distribution with MBA, which is stand for memory-based algorithm instead of random search, to reduce the MBA tunable parameters. Second is to propose a multi-level image thresholding technique based on BA, MBA, and LMBA with PSNR. So PSNR here will be used to choose the optimized threshold values. This work is a continuation from our previous work. In our previous work, we have done a critical analysis for base-based optimization algorithms, base in nature, enhancement of this algorithm, and the application. We also done a memory-based B algorithm, adding local and global information to two types of these names card and follower bees to copy the decision-making capability of bees. Okay, significance of the study is important for theoretical and practical perspectives. And for application, there are two real problems that we are going to show the results. Engineering design problems involve welded beam and spring design, and also multi-level image thresholding. So this is the methodology that we use for this paper. The one that I put stars is the focus part. For the enhancement of this algorithm, we introduce Levy distribution to basic BA and memory-based BA for scout and follower B. This is the initialization part. Then we also introduce Levy flight for MBA algorithm, and we also use it for a multi-level image thresholding. And at the end, we do some performance comparison. So this is the initialization procedure in the memory-based BA. These are the procedure, okay, that we use to introduce initialization method, yeah, in BA. So the motivation of this is to make it easy to get start points for the Levy flights. Yeah, the first start point for the first Levy motion was obtained using uniform distribution. Next step, we are going to implement the Levy. We are going to model the Levy flight in the local and global part. So the Levy flight was modeled in the global search and also local search using freely roaming Levy flights. This is the result that we found for basic BA, local MBA, global MBA, MBA, and also Levy and MBA, and also Levy and MBA. So this is based on mean evaluation. Okay, these are some of the results for benchmark function. So based on this result, we see that LMBA, the proposed Levy memory-based algorithm for Zhou Martin and Geddy, Rosenberg B, and also Rosenberg, and also Truong. So they showed the best performance. Yeah? And looking at the year, if you look at the year, we can see that the focus on initialization has been it's not been focused. It's not. It has been ignored by most of the researchers. So in that case, we come up with this initialization proposal. So these are some results for welded beam and also spring design. We can see that for the proposed LNBA, the fitness is we can say at this at the PAL is comparable. Yeah, for spring design also. Okay. Okay. However, there are some limitations for our work in this paper. For local search, we use Levy flight. However, instead of using Levy looping flights for local search as in nature, we use freely roaming Levy flights. Same with global search. We use Levy flight. However, we don't use spatially environment as in nature. For the population initialization, we use Levy flight. However, the Levy flight was not modeled as in nature, where the Levy flight was not modeled in spatially environment. And the initialization stage was achieved in a dependent way. And based on the proximity from the optimal solution that is unknown for most real-world problems. That's all my presentation. Thank you.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jiayi and I come from Wuhan University of Technology. And today my topic is the collaborative optimization of robotic disassembly planning problems using the Visa algorithm. And this presentation contains 5 parts, and let's start with the first part. And as we know, of all the process of remanufacturing, the disassembly process is the first and also is the most important process of the remanufacturing process. And usually the traditional disassembly process is manually executed, and recently the robotic disassembly is being proposed to cover the shortcomings of the manual disassembly. And the robotic disassembly process has the advantage of high speed, low cost, and no human labor. So under this environment, before the execution of the disassembly process, the planning problems is very important to improve the disassembly efficiency. And in the planning problems, we always have two kinds of planning method. The first one is the disassembly sequence planning. So here we can see the disassembly sequence planning is for the disassembly cell. So the robotic disassembly sequence planning is for the robotic disassembly cell. And also the RDLBP is the robotic disassembly line balancing problem. And it is used for the robotic disassembly line. Here we can find that the robotic disassembly line contains several robotic disassembly cells. So currently, the RDSP and RDLBP are always separately studied, and the current research always ignored their interactive relationship. So based on this, in this paper, we proposed COP, which is short for Collaborative Optimization Problem, and the COP is to consider the optimization goal of the robotic disassembly set and also for the robotic disassembly line to further improve the disassembly efficiency. And in the COP, we consider the interactive relationship between the RDSP and also for the RDLBP. And second one is what is the COP problem? And here we can find that the workflow of the COP. So in this process, the first one we need to generate the feasible disassembly solutions for COP. And this solution is generated by the feasible disassembly sequence and also the robotic disassembly workstation assignment method. And after that, we need to consider the interactive relationship between the RDSP and also the RDLBP. And we use the analytic network process to assign suitable weights to different indicators. And finally, we proposed the improved discrete beads algorithm to generate the optimal solutions for the COP. So first, we need to know what is the feasible disassembly sequence generation. So in this publication, we can find more details about SIMM, and this method is used to generate the feasible disassembly sequence. And after that, we include 4 indicators about the RDSP and RDLBP. And here, the maximum working time for the robotic workstations is the indicators for the RDSP. And the natural 3 indicators is the optimization objectives for the RDLBP, like the number of robotic workstations, the smoothness index, and also for the cycle time is. And the 3 objectives are for the RDLBP. So if we have 4 optimization objectives, we need to assign suitable weights to different objectives like here. So here we need to know what is the suitable weights like the omega 1 to 4 for different objectives. So based on this, we use the ANP, which is short for analytic network process, to generate the weight for different indicators. And the third one is the IDBA, the improved discrete beads algorithm. And in the left side of this slide, we can see the workflow of the IDBA. And the right up corner is the beads individuals. So in these individuals, we have 4 objectives, and we use these equations to calculate the fitness value for each beads. And the beads algorithm with the variable neighborhood search strategy is proposed to solve the COP. And the IDBA contains population initialization, variable neighborhood search, and also for the global search in this IDBA. And here is neighborhood search about the IDBA and also for the workflow of VNS. And in the first part, we used 2 products to show the effectiveness of the proposed method. So the first one is the gear pump, and it is with 15 components. And the second one is the camera. It is with 17 parts, right? And we use the 2 products to show the effectiveness of the proposed method. So the first one, we used IDBA to find which is the best cycle time of the robotic disassembly line. So on the different cycle time, for the first one, it's for if the robotic disassembly line is used to disassemble the gear pump. So we simulate we get the best cycle time on the different settings. So from here we can find that when the cycle time is 21 seconds, so we will have the smallest fitness value here. And for the camera, we can find that when the cycle time is 22 seconds, we can get the smallest fitness value. So for the gear pump, the best cycle time is 21, and for the camera, the best cycle time is 22, right? So based on the best cycle time of the robotic disassembly line, we compare the performance of the IDBA on the different iterations and populations. So from the left side of this slide, we can find that the running time of the IDBA linearly increased with the iterations and also for the populations, right? And also for the right side of this slide, we can find that the performance of IDBA is increased with iterations and populations. And because the AMP considers the interactive relationship between different indicators, so if we use the AHP, which is the analytic hierarchy process, to assign the weight for different indicators, so we can get different, totally different optimal solutions using different weight assignment method. So from here we can find that the AMP, which considers the interactive relationship between the IDSP and IDLBP, and it could be more suitable for the CLP problem because the AHP ignores the interactive relationship between different indicators. And we will also conduct research on the different scenarios. So for the scenario 3, it is considered the obstacle avoidance and moving paths between different disassembly points. And while the scenario 1 and 2 ignore this. So and for the scenario 3, it is more suitable for the robotic disassembly for the CLP problems compared with the other two scenarios. And finally, we get the optimal solutions comparison between the COP and the RDLBP. So for the traditional RDLBP, if we ignore the interactive relationship between the RDSP and RDLBP, we will get the optimal solutions like here. For the gear pump, we have the 4 indicators, the optimized indicators. For the camera, we also will get these 4 indicators. So if we get the COP, the optimal solutions of COP, we can further improve the cycle time of the robotic disassembly line to the maximum working time of all the robotic workstations. So the disassembly efficiency could be further improved using the COP problems. So from here we can find that these indicators and also for these indicators are further improved compared with the RDLP, right? So with this one, right? Finally, we also conduct the simulations based on the Robotic K. So for the left up color in this slide, it is the arrangement for the robotic disassembly line, and in these simulations, so we simulate if 10 gear pumps are to be disassembled using this robotic disassembly line, we will get different results. So for if we use the optimal solutions obtained by the RDLBP, if 10 gear pump should be disassembled, so we will have the 21 seconds multiply the 10, it equals to 210 seconds, right? So if we use the COP problems, the optimal solutions to disassemble the 10 gear pumps, we will take 208 seconds. So 2 seconds are optimized, right, for the robotic disassembly line. So if we use the camera, the 10 camera should be disassembled in the robotic disassembly line. So we can find that in this one, we simulate the optimal solutions get by the RDLBP. So if we need to disassemble 10 camera using the disassembly line, it will take 220 seconds, right? But if you use the optimal solutions get by the COP, it will take 217 seconds, right? So 3 seconds are optimized. So In finally, we will get conclusions and future works. So the conclusions. The optimal solutions of COP helps to further improve the disassembly efficiency by reducing the cycle time to the maximum working time of the robotic workstations. And for the future works, the COP will also integrate it with the physical industrial robots, and the characteristics of industrial robots will be considered as the robotic kinematics and the obstacle avoiding path planning. And more perception methods should also be integrated with COP, such as the image perception, force perception, and so on. So, thanks for your patience, and that's all my presentations. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Behnam Kazemshahi and so proud to be in the International Workshop on the B algorithm and its application, BAA 2021. Our three-member team consists of Dr. Shishe, Dr. Mansuri and Mr. Kazemshahi. We published a paper in Springer Journal in August 2021. The topic is in optimization of composite laminates with free edge under extension load and thermal load. Fiber-reinforced composite material structures have been increasingly used due to their unique properties compared to other materials such as high strength and stiffness to weight ratios, ability to withstand fatigue and corrosion, ease of manufacturing, lightweight, and cost effectiveness. But the effective use of composite structures significantly depends on determining the optimal design. The design or analysis of composite material is relatively more complex in comparison with isotropic material structure. So the optimization process is considered to be an efficient method that fulfills the global criteria and selection of values out of a large number of constrained design variables. Laminated composite with the free edge experience with failure initiations by the critical interlaminar stress near the free edge called delamination failure, as we can see in the figure. So in this research we develop the optimization of composite laminates considering the interlaminar stress at free edges of laminates using B algorithm. A composite laminate is defined as a stacking of two or more unidirectional plies with the same or different fiber orientation, bound together by a matrix. The stacking sequence of this structure has significant effect on mechanical properties of laminates, as this parameter has a key role in optimization of composite laminate structures. In fact, laminates are restricted to some discrete sets of ply orientation angles, thickness, and number of layers. So we need to describe optimization methodology for the layout design problems. We successfully developed the Bayes algorithm as an appropriate method for such discretized nonlinear optimization problem in this research. Many problems in science and engineering can be formulated as optimization problems, subject to complex nonlinear constraints. The solution of highly nonlinear problems usually requires sophisticated optimization algorithms, and traditional algorithms may struggle to deal with such problems. A current trend is to use nature's inspired algorithms due to their flexibility and effectiveness. Swarm intelligence is an artificial intelligence technique based around the study of collective behavior in decentralized, self organized systems. In this slide, we can see some of swarm intelligence algorithms such as genetic algorithms, particle swarm optimization, ant colony optimization, and bees algorithm. The bees algorithm is an efficient optimization tool inspired by the honeybee's intelligence in its natural behavior to find the best food source. This algorithm can be used for complex nonlinear organization optimization problems. We use Bees algorithms for the single objective optimization as well as the multi-objective optimization of composite laminates by considering the interlaminar stresses. In the single objective optimization problem, the optimal layup is determined based on maximizing the interlaminar strength of laminates. In this case, the optimization variable is the stacking sequence. Ply orientation angles are be considered with the range of minus 19 to plus 19 in steps of the 15 degree, hence leading to 12 different possible values of orientation angle theta, which are in the multi-objective optimization problem, three objective functions are considered: maximizing failure load, minimizing weight, and minimizing total cost of laminates. The optimization variable are layer orientation angles, similar to single objective problem. Thickness of each layer. The thickness of the lamina has been considered to be within the range of 0.05 millimeter to 0.5 millimeter, and it is assumed as a discrete variable. Number of layers, which varies between 8, 12, and 16. The single objective optimization process is shown in this flowchart. This flowchart, despite the multi-objective optimization process, most engineering problems contain several objective functions, and there is no unique solution for these problems, but a set of acceptable solutions with equal worth are identified. These answers are known as petro-optimal solutions. We consider two composite laminates structure: composite laminates with straight free edges and composite laminate with a center hole. In the current study, a simple and efficient analytical method is considered to analyze the interlaminar stresses near free edges. Considering the boundary layer theory and the principle of complementary energy, an approximate analytical method to obtain the interlaminar stresses at curved free edges of a laminated composite are used. The optimization algorithm parameters such as number of population, number of interaction, and so are shown here. First, the single objective optimization of composite laminates are considered. The optimal design are depicted here for laminates with 8, 12 and 16 layers. Also, the optimal stacking sequence are presented with details in the table. To verify the performance of these algorithms, results of single objective optimization are compared with those particle swarm optimization. In this slide, the multi-objective optimization of composite laminates are considered. First, the optimization process is performed by considering two objective functions, maximizing failure load and minimizing total cost, and maximizing failure load and minimizing total weight of laminates. Now the result for composite laminates with hole is presented. The optimal stacking sequence are shown in this table. The result of multi-objective optimization of composite laminates with a hole is presented in this slide. The optimal design considering two objective functions maximizing the failure load and minimizing cost are displayed in left figure. Also, the result for three objective functions can be seen in right figure. So, as a conclusion, the Bayes algorithm is an efficient optimization tool inspired by the honeybee's intelligence. Thank you.
This presentation is focused on a biosphere model for identification and measurement of cutting toolware. Biosphere computing represents the umbrella of different studies of computer science, mathematics, and biology. Biosphere computing algorithms is an emerging approach which is based on the principle and inspiration of the biological evolution of nature to develop new robust competing techniques. In the last years, the biosphere algorithms are recognized in machine learning to address the optimal solutions of complex problems in science and engineering. We know that the behavior of some insects or groups of animals in the nature, such as colonies of ants, flocks of birds, swarms of bees, and schools of fish, have attracted the attention of computer science researchers to solve several problems in science and engineering. In this framework, swarm intelligence, that is a subfield of artificial intelligence and that concerns with the intelligent behavior of biological swarms by the interaction of individuals in such environments, is used to solve real-world problems by simulating such biological behavior. Swarm intelligence is defined as the design of intelligent algorithms, which are simulated by the behavior of different animal societies. In particular, particular, the BEES algorithm models the foraging behavior of honeybees in order to solve optimization and search problems. Animal and insect colonies groups provide a rich environment to develop optimization and search algorithms. Also, it has several characteristics such as adaptation, scalability, speed, autonomy, parallelism, and fault tolerance that are appropriate to be applied in manufacturing systems. The basic hypothesis for the biologicalization in manufacturing is that future manufacturing systems will incorporate components, features, characteristics, and capabilities that enable the convergence towards living systems. This presentation aims at testing one aspect of this basic hypothesis by developing a new integration approach consisting in the utilization of the BEES algorithm in its basic formulation for the identification and measurement of tool wear during turning operations. The cutting tests were run under small quantity lubrication conditions using microbial-based cutting fluid containing a microalgae species, in particular Spirulina platensis, as lubricant components. It is intended to represent a clear and explicit instance of direct use of resources from living nature for new innovation in manufacturing, according to the biointegration approach of biological transformation. We know that the BEES algorithm is inspired by the natural foraging behavior of honeybees. It mimics the food foraging behavior of honeybees colonies. The BEES algorithm performs a kind of neighborhood search combined with global search. In this slide, we see the pseudocode of the BEES algorithm in its simplest form. The algorithm starts with the hand-scout bees being placed randomly in the search space. The fitness on the site visited by the scout bees are evaluated in step 2. In step 4, bees that have the highest fitness are designated as selected bees, and the sites visited by them are chosen for neighborhood search. Then in steps 5 and 6, the algorithm conducts searches in the neighborhood of selected sites, assign more bees to search near to the best sites. In step 7, the remaining bees in the population are assigned randomly around the search space, scouting for new potential solutions. These steps are repeated until a stopping criterion is met. The BEES algorithm is generally used for optimization problems or related to function defined from a mathematical point of view. In this research activity, the agent's search capacity will be used to determine the extent of tool wear from images. The idea is to replace the fitness landscape with a landscape consisting of the image in a matrix version. Bees can find the characteristic point of wear and return the required. We have carried out quasi-orthogonal experimental test, in particular quasi-orthogonal cutting test on steel 1045 using rubber inserts as cutting tools. Bio-based cutting fluid under small quantity lubrication machining process condition was utilized. We have selected the diverse cutting condition by varying cutting speed, feed rate, and depth of cut as reported in the table. Every machining test was carried out with a new cutting tool until tool failure. During turning trials, the cutting tool condition was evaluated in terms of crater wear by directly measuring tool wear at fixed time intervals to a microscope as well as on the acquired images for comparison. A copper wire with a diameter equal to 0.21 millimeters was positioned close the crater wear zone. It will be used as a reference for the conversion pixel to millimeter to verify the effectiveness of the BEES algorithm method. And we see the wire, the copper wire in the figure in the on the left. In this slide, we see the wool code that we have implemented for the BIS algorithm to be used in our research activities. In this slide, we see the steps for tool wear detection. The first photo shows the tool, the wire, and you can see also the biocutting fluid in green. In the photo on the right, there is the MATLAB processing results for the selection of the crater zone. Then in figure C, there is the 3D image with the initial population of the bees, while in figure D, we see the positioning of the bees after 25 steps, and we see exactly the shape of the crater area, and on the screen we can read the measure in millimeter of the crater wear area that will be compared with the measure made by using the microscope. In this slide, we see the simulation of the BIS algorithm. Starting from initial population, randomly positioned on the figure, we can see that during the simulation, the BIS represented by the red spheres identify the age of the crater wear area. To find the best BIS algorithm solution, we have optimized the BIS algorithm configuration, testing different configuration, varying some parameters such as duration, random scout, elite sites. After the calculation of the percentage error, it can be chosen the best BIS algorithm configuration, that is the configuration with the minimum error. In particular, in this table, we see the different BIS algorithm configuration, and in the red circle, we see the selected best configuration that we have chosen for our activities. In this graph, we have reported the measurement of the tool wear using a microscope, and also the measurement obtained by the BIS algorithm in orange. We see that the two curves are coincident, and the differences between the two different measurements are very low. In conclusion, biointegration approach consisting in utilization of the BIS algorithm for identification and measurement of the tool wear during turning operation is presented. The cutting tests were run under small quantity lubrication condition using microbial-based cutting fluid containing a microalgae species as lubricant component. The BIS algorithm for tool wear detection has been used in real time to recognize the value of the crater wear zone by photos of the cutting tool. The results of the BIS algorithm method shows its applicability in manufacturing systems. Thank you for your attention.
Dear researchers, welcome to my presentation. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Osman Ozturk. I'm a research assistant at Konya Technical University. Today, I'm here to present you an application of the BIS algorithm to the pulsating hydroforming. So this is the outline of my presentation. The motivation of the research is that titanium 6 aluminum 4 vanadium titanium alloy covers more than 50% of the overall titanium alloy. The advantage of this titanium alloy is its high mechanical properties, high corrosion resistance, and low density. However, the disadvantage of this material is its low formability when compared to carbon steels. Therefore, the formability can be increased by using high pressure forming or warm hydroforming, which requires high cost. So we choose to increase the formability of the titanium alloy by using hydroforming, which our team has specialized over the last decade. So as you can see, there are conventional deep drawing methods for sheet parts and hydroforming for sheet parts. And there are also advanced methods of hydroforming like pulsating, vibrating, and warm hydroforming. So there's an increasing formability down here, but also there's an increase in cost. Therefore, we chose the pulsating hydroforming, which is actually applying pulsating pressure at moderate cost. So this is a schematic representation of sheet hydroforming with dye. This is a traditional method. In a traditional method, we apply a monotonous pressure path like this, but in pulsating hydroforming, we used a sinusoidal pressure path. So the main difference between pulsating and monotonous hydroforming is their pressure path. This is a newly developed method in the last decade. So this is another classification of hydroforming. So under sheet hydroforming, there are hydromechanical deep drawing for deep parts and sheet hydroforming with dye for shallow and complex parts. But there's also hydraulic pulse test, which is a mechanical test for biaxial stress condition. If you do this test, you have an insight for these two processes. Therefore, we chose to investigate the pulsating hydroforming through hydraulic pulse test. So basically, this is a hydraulic pulse test. Our input is pressure and output is bulge height of the specimen and thickness distribution of the specimen. As you can see here, the additional parameters appear in pulsating hydroforming when compared to traditional hydroforming. So these are the frequency, amplitude, and base pressure. It is clear that we need to optimize these parameters, and we chose to use the Bayes algorithm. This is an example about how to find the global optimum. At the last step, after several iterations, you find the global best. These are the recent studies about optimization of hydroforming processes. And these are the research objectives: performing the pulsating hydraulic pulse test, building a model, determining the objective function, using the Bayes algorithm to find the optimal parameters, performing experiments with optimal parameters. So this is our experimental setup. The hydroforming press was modified for hydraulic pulse test. The internal pressure and the pulse height can be recorded instantaneously up to 10 milliseconds sensitivity. This is the sectional view of the 3D model of our experimental setup. This is the initial state of the test and the final state of the test where tearing occurs. These are the experimental results, but this chart is more understandable. So we actually increased the formability of the titanium alloy by using pulsating hydroforming. But as you can see, there is a nonlinear relationship between the parameters and the bulge height. So we need to build a mathematical model for bulge height for 3 different frequencies. First one is for 1 Hz, second one is for 2 Hz, and third one is for 3 Hz. And these are the coefficients of the second-degree polynomial mathematical models. So we validate and make an error analysis for bulge height models. The root mean square errors and model prediction errors are acceptable. Up to this point, we modeled the bulge height. After this, we need to model the thickness at dome apex or center of the bulged specimen. So we used the Lazarescu approach here, which is an analytical approach. So we built the objective function as normalized thickness and normalized bulge height. Actually, normalized thickness divided by normalized bulge height. These are the sub-functions mentioned earlier. And these are the convergence graphs of the Bayes algorithm. So we use this objective function to optimize the parameters of the pulsating hydroforming. And down here you see the Bayes algorithm parameters such as number of scout bees or number of best selected patches, etc. So these are the optimal parameters from the Bayes algorithm. So we found the best bulge height for 2 Hz. But we also performed the experiments of each frequency. As you can see, the experiments are very near to the findings from Bayes algorithm. So up to this point, bulge height is optimized. After this, we need to find the thickness distribution. So we used the magnetic ball thickness gauge to measure the thickness distribution over the specimen. You can see here the visual representation of curvilinear distance. So these are the results for 1 Hz, 2 Hz, and 3 Hz. As we can see, the thickness distribution is between monotonous and maximum thinning pulsating hydroforming, which is desired. So thickness distribution is the most significant quality criteria for sheet parts. Conclusion: optimal results thanks to the Bayes algorithm indicate that the provided method ensures less thinning and a more uniform thickness distribution was obtained. In optimization, the thickness difference gets improved and bulge height is also increased, which means that the formability of the titanium alloy increased. After the experimental and numerical studies, as a general result, it was come out that the uniform thickness could be ensured with suitable bulge height by the Bayes algorithm. Future work as an advanced manufacturing method, the optimization studies about the hydroforming process are not adequate yet. So the proposed application of the Bayes algorithm and modeling in the study will have been applied to industrial hydroforming processes, such as hydromechanical deep drawing and sheet hydroforming with dye for promising results. These are the references. This is our hydroforming lab, and this is me actually. Thanks for your attention. Any comments and suggestions will be appreciated.
Hi everyone, my name is Mukhtar Shuran, a PhD student at Cardiff University. In today's presentation, I am going to talk about the main outlines and key results of our recent research, entitled The Bayes Algorithm Optimized Different Controllers for Load Frequency Control in the Simplified Great Britain Power System. During this talk, we will cover the following outlines. Firstly, a brief introduction about load frequency control and its main tasks is given. Then, the investigated simplified Great Britain power system is shown. After that, the proposed control techniques tuned by the suggested Bayes algorithm are explained. Then, the key obtained results will be presented and discussed. Finally, a brief and concise conclusion will be given. The stability of power systems has always been an important topic. Load frequency control or automatic generation control is a key surface to maintain the stability of power systems. The basic rule of this surface is to control the frequency and keep it at its nominal values. Also, to maintain the interchanged power between control areas at pre-specified values. Therefore, the objectives of load frequency control is to make zero steady-state error in frequency variation and time-line power deviation. Also, to reduce the undershoot, overshoot, and settling time. Our proposed controllers will be used as load frequency control in the shown simplified Great Britain power system. This system has been widely used to verify the effectiveness of different strategies proposed to control the frequency in the Great Britain power system and to study the behavior of the system. The parameters of the system are taken from recently published works to study the dynamic response of the system based on the proposed controllers. A load disturbance of 0.0395 per unit represents a loss of generation units equals to 1.2 gigawatt is applied into the system. The main contributions of this study is to use the BEAS algorithm to tune the parameters of different controllers used for load frequency control in the Great Britain power system. The proposed 4 controllers are 1. The classical BID and the fractional BID tuned by the BEAS algorithm. Also, to design and implement a sliding mode control tuned by the BEAS algorithm for load frequency control. Finally, to design and implement fuzzy BID with filtered derivative mode. The scaling factors of this controller are tuned by the BEAS algorithm. As we said, 4 different controllers are proposed for this study. Firstly, the classical BID tuned by the BEAS algorithm expressed in equation 1 is designed. In this case, 3 parameters are tuned by the BEAS algorithm, namely the proportional gain Kb, integral gain Ki, and the derivative gain Kd. Then, the fractional order BID is designed, where 5 different parameters are optimized by the BEAS algorithm. Further, a new fuzzy structure shown in figure 3 is designed. This structure has 2 inputs and 1 output, and 6 scaling vector gains are to be tuned. The membership functions of the 2 inputs and the 1 output are illustrated in figure 4, as we have 2 inputs and 5 membership functions for each input, so 25 rule bases are required to generate the output. The rule base of this controller are shown in table 1. The sliding mode control is derived based on the parameters of the simplified Great Britain power system. In the case of sliding mode control, 7 parameters are to be tuned by the BEAS algorithm. The control law of the proposed sliding mode control design is expressed in equation 3. Table 2 gives the BEAS algorithm parameters used in this study. The optimum gains obtained by employing the BEAS algorithm for the sliding mode control is given in table 3. Also, the optimum gains of the BID, fractional order BID, and fuzzy BID structure are given in table 4. These gains are tuned using the proposed optimization algorithm by minimizing the integral time absolute error of the deviation in the frequency. Figure 5 presents the dynamic response of the system delta F following a load disturbance equals 1.2 gigawatt without applying the load frequency control system. It's clear from this graph that the drop in the frequency reached more than 0.4 Hz. However, after applying the proposed controllers, the drop in the frequency based on different controllers are shown in figure 6. It is obvious from figure 6 that the proposed fuzzy BID tuned by the BEAS algorithm has offered the best dynamic response. The sliding mode control has also provided an excellent response. The dynamic response represented by the peak undershoot in Hz, peak overshoot in Hz, the settling time based on the proposed controllers are given in table 5. Percentage of improvement achieved by the fuzzy BID and the sliding mode control as compared with the traditional BID response is shown in figure 7. To further examine the effectiveness of the proposed controllers, robustness analysis of these techniques towards parametric uncertainty of the testbed system is carried out. 4 different scenarios of the parametric uncertainty are assumed, which are given in table 6. The dynamic response of the system without load frequency control loop based on the assumed cases are illustrated in figure 8. As we can see, the most drop in the frequency recorded is based on case 8. Therefore, this case will only be considered for robustness investigation of the proposed controllers. The dynamic response of the system based on the proposed controllers under parametric uncertainties case 4 are given in figure 9 and table 7. From figure 9 and table 7, it is observed that although the wide range of parametric variation applied in the system, the proposed controllers still give a good response. The fuzzy PID and the sliding mode control tuned by the BIS algorithm still offering the best results. As a conclusion, in this research, different controllers tuned by the proposed BIS algorithm are implemented for load frequency control in the simplified Great Britain power system. The BIS algorithm has been used to achieve the optimal performance of each controller. From the simulation results, it is proved that the BIS algorithm is a useful optimization tool to optimize the parameters of the proposed controllers. It is also observed that the fuzzy PID and the sliding mode control have offered the best dynamic responses. These are some useful references used in this study. This is the end of this presentation. Thanks a lot for listening and feel free to ask. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity to present our work at this workshop. Today, I present to you our work with the title, A Sustainable Model of Robotic Disassembly Using Multi-Objective BIS Algorithm. Let me introduce the authors, myself, Natalia, Javier Ramirez, and Duke Pham. When a product reaches the end of its useful life, the parts can be reused, recycled, remanufactured, or disposed. The first three options are standard recovery options. The final option, disposal, is the least desired because it will be harmful to the environment. These recovery options were intended to save raw materials, reduce manufacturing costs, and have a lower environmental impact. In recent years, remanufacturing has become increasingly important for environmental preservation and resource conservation. Remanufacturing is the process of restoring a product to its original or better state, and it is a sustainable option for end-of-life products. Disassembly is the first and most important step in remanufacturing. This study focused on robotic disassembly. The aim is to provide a sustainable model of robotic disassembly to find optimal solution that balance the three sustainable goals using the multi-objective BIS algorithm. There are three strategies that we use: recycling, remanufacturing, and reuse. The following are the steps of our research. First is the construction of the sustainable model and its formulations. We have three goals that we want to maximize: economic profit, energy savings, and environmental impact savings. And three strategies: recycling, remanufacturing, and reuse. The experiment will be detailed in the next slide. We use the multi-objective BIS algorithm and compare it with NSGA2 and PESA2. The output is a robotic disassembly sequence. As demonstrator, we use two industrial gear pumps. Gear pump A consists of 15 parts and gear pump B consists of 24 parts. The BIS algorithm was introduced by Pham et al. In 2005. The BIS algorithm is a swarm-based intelligence capable of solving complex problems in a short computational time and superior to discovering near-optimal solutions to a wide range of real-world problems. For example, manufacturing cell formation, control system tuning, dynamic control problems, job shop scheduling, mechanical design optimizations, supply chain, disassembly sequence, disassembly line balancing, and many more. This is an illustration of a robotic cells in this study. The robot is KUKA, a 7-axis lightweight robot with a joint arm. This robot is prepared to manage a rate payload of up to 14 kg, with a maximum reach of 820 mm. The tool magazine contains the tool required for disassembly activities. If the next planned step in the disassembly process requires replacing the tool, the robot must move to the position of the tool magazine. Experiments were carried out using MATLAB 2028 on the bare cloud service provided by the University of Birmingham. The experiment ran 50 times using a different population and different iteration size to test the algorithm under different parameters. This is the parameter setting for the experiment for the BIS algorithm. This slide shows the experiment conducted for this study. There are 20 different combinations of iteration and population size. We have 3 strategies, and we use single objective and multi-objective approach. There are enormous results, and we present one of them here for gear pump A using the multi-objective BIS algorithm, iteration 500, population size 50, and recycle strategy. This output shows the disassembly sequence, direction, recovery mode, tools, and fitness value of the goal 1, economic profit, goal 2, energy savings, and goal 3, environmental impact savings. This figure shows the Pareto optimal solution for gear pump A for iteration 500, population size 50, and recycling strategy using 3 algorithms: multi-objective BIS algorithm in blue, and SGA2 in red, and PESA2 in black. For each dot, it represents a trade-off solution with a disassembly sequence, direction, recovery mode, and tools as shown in the table in the previous slide. The last step is to do performance analysis to compare the solutions for the 3 algorithms using the number of function evaluation, hypervolume indicator, and Pareto optimal. The result shows that the multi-objective BIS algorithm yields higher performance compared to an SGA2 and PESA2. This figure shows average multi-objective BIS algorithm result for iteration 500 and population size 80 for gear pump A and gear pump B. In conclusion, the model that we developed in this study were able to find a balanced trade-off optimal solution for the 3 objectives under 3 different recovery strategies. Multi-objective BIS algorithm outperform NSGA2 and PESA2 in terms of convergence, speed, and diversity, number of function evaluation, and the number of Pareto optimal solution, yielding near optimal solution for the robotic disassembly sequence planning. The decision maker has the option of selecting the best Pareto optimal solution available. Our findings suggest that a viable robotic disassembly sequence planning that balances the 3 sustainable aims for the 3 sustainable strategies is doable for both researchers and industries. This work supported by the Indonesian Endowment Fund for Education, LPDP, the Engineering and Physical Sciences Research Council, and the University of Pelita Harapan. Thank you for listening.